We're in San Diego, California, where the Legion hosts the first semi-final of the Major League Rugby competition. San Diego's top point scorer, Joe Peterson, looks to lead the Legion into the championship match next week. But England international star Ben Foden has upset on his mind for New York. It's finally the business end of the season for this 2019 Major League Rugby competition. And we're in Torero Stadium for the first semi-final between San Diego and Rugby United New York. Of course, this being the first of two semi-finals, later on tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern, the Seattle Seawolves host the Toronto Arrows. Welcome, rugby fans, to Torero Stadium for the first semi-final of the Major League Rugby competition. I'm a very excited Mark Stabina, joined by former US team national head coach Pete Steinberg. Now, Pete, San Diego hosting today, home semi-final, possibly a home final. Rugby United New York, you could say, snuck into the playoffs. What can we expect from this match today?
Well, we know that we're going to get a physical game, but both teams have come in with very different momentums. San Diego on a winning streak, and as you said, Mark, New York losing last week, but getting it in bonus points. It's going to be a great matchup.
And Pete, talk us through the strengths of both of these teams leading into today's game.
Well, San Diego leads with a very, very physical defense, both in the tackle and also in the ruck. And that physicality creates turnovers, and those turnovers create try-scoring opportunities. New York creates their try-scoring opportunities in different ways, mainly through their line-out. They have a great line-out with a great line-out drive, and that creates space to exploit to get them over the line. But it's not just their forwards. Their outside backs like England star Ben Foden are going to be very difficult for the San Diego defense to handle.
Well, we are set up for some spectacular action later on. It's the Legion versus Rugby United New York after the break. Don't go anywhere.
Now, ladies and gentlemen,
Major League Rugby on CBS Sports Network is sponsored by 20th Century Fox's Dark Phoenix. The Phoenix will rise. The X-Men will fall. In theaters now. Rated PG-13.
Welcome back to Torero Stadium. We are moments away from kickoff in this first semi-final between the San Diego Legion and Rugby United New York. But first, let's hear from our third and best-looking commentary member, Stacey Pates.
Oh, that's so nice. Thank you so much. Well, friends, unfortunately, the Legion today are going to be without key starter Mikey Te'o. Just last week on this pitch in the last regular season game, he suffered a high ankle sprain. Now, what's missing without Mikey Te'o? A lot. He's a unique back, or a unique attacker, rather. He also is an emotional leader. He also, by the way, is the leading try scorer, guys. A lot missing with Mikey Te'o.
Let's have a look at these lineups for today. For San Diego forwards, the Legion coaches have selected the same front line that overthrew NOLA last week, with number 5 Josh Furno proving to be a valuable last-minute signing.
And in the backs, as Stacey mentioned, the loss of Mikey Te'o is going to be huge, and his shoes will be filled by Ty Anoza, making his first start at fullback this season.
For the New York forwards, head coach Mike Tolkin also keeps the same pack after their narrow loss to Toronto last week. Watch out for Dylan Fawcett in the number 2 jersey, who has scored the most tries of any forward in the league.
And in the backs, led by New York native Mike Petrie, there is one change from last week, with Chris Martina coming in at 13, pushing Mark O'Keefe to the wing. And the reserves here, Mark, are going to be critical because it's such a physical game. And there are 2 USA props, Chance Wenglowski and Dino Waldron. Each team has a US prop off the bench that will be important in the scrum.
And the all-important man in the middle for today, Anthony Woodthorpe. He's had 4 games this season. This is his 5th, and what a massive occasion for this young man from England.
Timing, fellas!
In the sky blue instead of the usual pink. It's finals rugby here at Torero Stadium. The arm goes up, the whistle goes off, and Cathal Marsh gets us underway. Great kick from him
Advantage wide.
as they've regained possession. Just the start that they would want here at Torero Stadium. Getting things going early, up over the gain line. Trying to get quick ball, Petrie to Marsh. Puts it high in the air. Here comes the counter-attack, settling things down is Peterson, with that trademark sweeping kick of his down to Ben Foden, the international superstar from England. A marquee player for this Major League Rugby competition. RUNY back with possession. Petrie comes back down the short side. John Quill has a look. Decides to batter his way over the gain line himself. Putting it through the phases now, RUNY, as they do so well. Great patience from this team. Little backdoor pass. Still relatively tight. Not quite using the full width of the field. And that's a big tackle coming in from guess who? Paddy Ryan, the number 3 for the Legion.
Great defense there by San Diego, forcing New York to kick because they just can't find a way forward.
Peterson takes it soundly, beats one, nearly gets through, pumps the legs. And Augsburger sends it down to Manihera, who then gets it away. Boyer comes in, away from the danger of the sideline. The Legion with some quick ruck ball now. Manihera again getting involved early. Straight through, almost, is Peterson. After the injection of Ty Anoza. But it looks like a knock-on, Pete Steinberg.
Well, we saw early on exactly what New York are going to do. They're going to bring their forwards. They're going to be very direct against San Diego. But the San Diego defense, they have so many physical and dominant tacklers. It's going to be very, very tough. This was the same challenge that NOLA had last year, is you just can't get go forward through the middle.
First scrum of the match. It will be New York through the capable hands of Mike Petrie, Captain Courageous.
And the scrum is going to be so important in this game. It's going to be 2 really good scrums going against it.
Oh, let's go, go, go!
Short arm penalty.
So what happened there, Mark, is that we said this is going to be a great tussle, and so what that means is that San Diego tried to go a little bit early, which they're not allowed to do.
Foden with a hurried kick. Doesn't find touch. Possibly didn't want to from that short arm penalty. Would have been a line out to San Diego anyway, as Marsh gets a great purchase on that ball and brings his team almost, in fact he does, over the halfway line. Line out to San Diego.
Well, the kicking game is so important. San Diego show that they like to play territory. It isn't as important for them to have possession of the ball because their defense is so strong. You can see they're the 8th team in possession, and yet they're top of the league. They're okay kicking that ball away and leading with their defense to cause errors.
Capelli Pifoletti throws it in, the young 20-year-old with a great first touch. Duplessis not held, so he keeps going, scurrying forward up to the 40-meter line of New York. Quick ruck ball for San Diego. They are so dangerous like this. Paddy Ryan loves getting involved at first receiver. Keeps momentum as Matthias gets his first touch. He's met by a 2-man tackle. Haven't advanced over the 40 yet. Let's see if Wuching can, and he does. Sam Wuching.
Tackle!
Such a handful when he gets involved. The other Pifoletti brother on the charge now, the Legion, the home team. Peterson, dummies, slips through the tackle of Houston. And it's a penalty to New York. A little bit of push and shove down there, as you can imagine. Plenty of feeling in this match.
Well, this is actually the second time these teams have really gotten it away from the ball. Even during that play, we saw a couple of, I think it was Josh Furno having a bit of a disagreement.
Here's an opportunity for the referee, Anthony Woodthorpe, to stamp his authority on this match, Pete.
Well, I think it's a challenge. In these situations, there's not much you can do. It'll be interesting to see what he saw. He'll talk to his assistant referees that are on the sideline, find out what they saw. Let's hear what he said.
Six. Okay. It's unacceptable from you. Okay? Slapping him on the head. Then your action to come in and escalate it. Okay? I've brought it up. It's going to be a reversal of the penalty. You be very careful. Two. You must keep your calm. Okay, can you go 10 meters, please? Can you go 10 meters, please? I've just spoken to it.
Wow, ill-discipline right there. So the referee, he had originally called the penalty against San Diego, and because the New York players started to push and shove, he's reversed that penalty, and this is a great attacking platform. They have a choice here, Mark. They can kick for the points and get 3, or they can kick to the sideline and say, we're going to take our line out, drive it in for a try, and get the 5 points with the potential 2.
Just over 5 minutes gone in this first semi-final.
It's unnecessary. You had a penalty and you lost it.
Well, San Diego were playing at a really fast speed, but you could see Ben Foden came in. He was able to get his hands on the ball, and then you could see right there John Quill coming in, tapping the head. Not something that we really want to see in rugby, and that's what the referee saw, and he said, you're not going to do that. And you saw the second RUNY player come in with the shove as well.
So the line out is a success. Brought down. RUNY come in with an early drive. Try and nullify this driving maul. It's come to the ground. Can San Diego get it out? No, they can't.
So this is one of those special rules in rugby. If you set a maul, which is when you're tackled, you stay on your feet, which most often happens from a line out, and that maul goes to ground, people do not have to roll away. You'll hear the referee say roll away at a tackle, but if it happens to a maul and it collapses, New York can lie on the ball, and then it's a turnover. That was an important moment for New York early in this game.
Yeah, I understand. Stay square. I'll watch it.
And if you're just joining us here, welcome. don't despair. You're not too late still. 0-0 here in the first semi-final of the Major League Rugby Competition 2019. I'm Mark Stabina, joined by Pete Steinberg and Stacey Pates. We're hearing some great insight from Stacey throughout the day on the sideline, as will you from Pete Steinberg.
Fade away, fade away.
Student of the game is Pete Steinberg.
Hold
But
it.
let's get back to the action as New York are forced out of their red zone.
And we call that an exit play, a really excellent exit play. What New York did really well, Mark, in this defensively is they got the drive on first. So they were able to push the San Diego maul back, and that ruined everything. That meant that they weren't able to control it. So when the ball went to the ground, you could see the New York Paddy Ryan, number 3, there's 2 Paddy Ryans on the field, just lie on the ball, and very well defended. But still a great attacking platform for San Diego here.
Ferno launches sky high. The Italian international
Don't lift the leg.
played his first match for the Legion just last week, made quite an impact indeed as Duplessis sent it back to Peterson. They have numbers out to the left, and Nosa can't control it. Well, you'd have to say, Pete, that RUNY were possibly in trouble there if that ball went to hand.
They weren't possibly in trouble, they were absolutely in trouble. And that came from the great line-out drive. Unusually, San Diego had a short line-out, so normally there's 7 men in the line-out. They went with only 5. They caught RUNY thinking it wasn't going to be a drive, but that drive opened up. The dummy runner holds, and here I just think the timing, remember this is Tyanosa's first game at fullback, that timing just wasn't quite right. Mikey Teo's played fullback pretty much all season, and you're going to see that a little bit with Tyanosa not quite being in the right place, maybe not quite being as accurate as Mikey Teo would be.
Possibly some early nerves there from Enosa. Pete is stepping into some pretty big shoes
Crouch!
in Mikey Teo.
Twice now, falling forward.
But Enosa has been coming on from the bench, having some wonderful touches late in the game,
Better. I hear you.
scoring
You've
some
had 2
brilliant
penalties
tries
now.
as well.
How
He's
much more do you want to say?
certainly great on his feet.
I talked with Scott Murray a little bit before the game, and he said teams know that we're good at the scrum, so they play some games with us. So you saw there's already been a couple of chances at the scrum that San Diego have tried to put pressure, but New York have accepted that pressure. They've let that drive, and the referee has called it against San Diego. So New York finally getting out of their half with an opportunity.
And they've squandered that opportunity as the Legion come up with the ball, much to the delight of this home crowd. What a bumper home crowd it is, just as we expected. Beautiful conditions here in Southern California. The pitch again in pristine condition. As Connor Wallace-Sims brings it back, beats one. Great counter-attacking run from him. Numbers out to the left now for RUNY. Fawcett, the try-scoring machine. Quick ball now. Houston has a crack. Petrie quick to the ball. Marsh attacks the line. This is how he mixes up his game. Paddy Ryan of the Irish variety. Ball spits out, cleaned up. Now it goes forward, advantage being played. So San Diego can't do anything, and they won't. It'll come back for a scrum.
Well, we're seeing what New York are trying to do against this San Diego defense. San Diego are known for their what's called line speed, which is their ability to get off the line and really put pressure. And you can, it's in open play that they've had their best opportunity, not against that line speed. So I think that was Mark O'Keefe able to make that break and able to generate that go forward. Then once they get the ball, they're changing direction, trying to use their forwards. But the San Diego team, just really, really difficult to break through the middle. They're so physical that they create turnovers and they create knock-ons. And I think that's going to be the challenge. I'm not sure. This was not what Nola tried last week, Mark. If I'm New York, I might want to move it wider a little bit earlier as opposed to playing into the teeth of this San Diego defense.
Or as you said, Pete, some small success from counter-attack there, making it through that defensive line that wasn't set as it usually is from set piece. Of course, #1 defense in the league, San Diego. Maybe that's the way to attack them, from broken play from kicks. And speaking of kicks, Peterson sends it into the stratosphere and down the throat of Foden. He takes on the defense. You may see RUNY run the ball back more often than kick it in attack. Could that be the way to get through this rock-solid defense of San Diego? Penalty now to RUNY. They'll settle it down.
Yep, and he has to go back round. Thank you.
Well, this is actually been interesting. One of the great laws is, or one of the great cultures of rugby is respect for the referee. And so when a referee makes a decision, you can't actually talk back. And the referee said, hey, someone complained about that. It's not part of the culture of rugby. And the penalty is you march them another 10 meters. But this is a challenge that San Diego has. They are the most penalized team in the league. And we've seen that already. They've already got 4 penalties against them early on in this game. And that really plays into RUNY's hands, because their biggest weapon is their line-out drive. And here they have a line-out on the edge of the 22. I'll expect them to take it, drive, and really test the San Diego forwards. You can see this is the first line out for the second line out for New York, and it's the second one that Josh Furno came through, and the referee said again another penalty against San Diego. This gives New York an even better chance to get the first score of the game.
Still 0-0 here at Torero.
What's the option?
It's the first semi-final of the Major League Rugby season of 2019. Two giant teams facing off. It's sudden death rugby. 14 minutes gone. No score.
Thank you.
We knew it would be tight here today. San Diego coming into this match favorites, having finished first in the league in the regular season, and that has earned them this home semi-final and a chance for a home final. New York, bring it down, it comes, spills out. So a loose maul, but close to the try line, the closest they've been all match, and they're over the try line. New York have scored the first try of this first semi-final.
Off the floor. Off the floor.
We said in the pre-game, Mark, that it's their line-out that creates the opportunities to score their tries, and that's exactly what happened. I think the referee is going to talk to Josh Forno and John Quill. This is the second time John Quill's had a conversation. I think it's the line-out battle that's going on.
Twice now you've been involved in things off the ball, comments from you, and then that, and then one over there, now here. It stops now, otherwise people will go to the bin. Is that understood? The try stands, but be very careful.
So the referee said, I'm watching you, you're going to go to the bin. That's a yellow card, that's 10 minutes in the sin bin. It's a little bit like the penalty box in hockey. You can see Josh Forno coming through here, grabbing and trying to grab the ball. He isn't able to do that, but great opportunistic play when New York were just able to go forward, got great body position, was able to get over the line, and a really fascinating opening where New York have really been under pressure. It was their first chance to get into San Diego's 22, and they come away with a try.
Thank you, fella.
A try scored by Paddy Ryan, the 28-year-old from Chicago, as Cahal Marsh adds the extras. Let's send it down to Stacey Pates on the sideline.
Well, gents, you were just talking a little bit about Josh Forno. We've seen him involved in a couple of scuffles. We heard the official call that out. He's a guy that they've waited to have. The Legion have wanted him for over a month. He just joined the team a week ago, and that's one of the reasons they wanted to have him. He's big, he's a beast, he's intense, but he better dial it back because they don't want to suffer from that intensity while they need it at the same time.
I talked to Scott Murray, the forwards coach for the Legion. He said Josh Furno has really added a lot. He's got 29 caps for Italy. He's one of the most experienced internationals in the league, and he's adding a lot. But as Stacey said, he has to stay calm.
It's great to have Stacey Pates down there. She is up close and personal.
Touch. Hit the line.
She will have a sense of the intensity between these two teams. We've seen some scuffling early on. You can forgive them for that. It's sudden death rugby here at Torero Stadium.
Well, I think San Diego are going to feel a little shocked in this game. They've had much more of the opportunity, but find themselves down. You can see they're down on the possession, and I think they need to hold on to the ball a little bit more.
Neither team really settling into their stride at the line out. Set piece looking a little shaky for both. And New York have come up with San Diego's ball. As Petrie looks back to the right-hand side. Strong
Tackle
defense
now.
from this red wall. Cathal Marsh attacks the line, can't get through.
Right now, the only way RUNY go forward are on penalties that San Diego give away and their kicks.
And that's a clever kick from Petrie. Puts this Legion under pressure. Peterson's forced to come in, settle it down. And they're going to try and run their way out of the 22.
Tackle!
Faramalua does well to gain an extra yard or two. Heading back down the short side through Pifoletti. Slow ball.
Been taken back.
Peterson.
Hold in front.
Long kick. Over his shoulder, back down the left. Finds the grass. Great bounce. Just what Peterson wanted. Gives
Keep coming
the
wide.
Legion a little bit of extra time to put pressure on, but Foden's done well. Kicks it, stays in. Here comes Enosa. Great fend. Enosa brings the Legion up back into RUNY territory. Manihera. Plenty of touches already for him in this match. Oh, Stanfill. Paddy Ryan out the back. Peterson, he's got numbers. He holds on. Brilliant cover defense coming across for New York.
Stood up on the wrong.
But it's a penalty.
Stood up on the wrong side, same as Seven over there.
Well, San Diego are really showing their ability that when they can go through the phases, they're being a little bit more physical in the forwards. They're generating that go forward, and that's giving them these opportunities out wide. But that's the second time Joe Peterson has had the ball with a advantage. He had an overload on the outside. The first time the pass was a little bit too low to Enosa. That time he should have released the ball. But the penalty really gives them this a great attacking opportunity. I think we'll see another line-out drive. Look for Josh Furno to be involved. And this will be another test for the RUNY forwards.
Yes, Pete, as you said, RUNY now find themselves close to their own try line. San Diego possibly looking to score in the same fashion that New York just scored the first try of the match. And they are driving with that big shove coming in from RUNY.
Don't change now, don't change.
Inching forward, somewhat stationary now. Comes out for Augsburger, he's knocked it on.
Lost forward.
Not what the Legion needed.
Well, interesting choice there by RUNY. There's two ways that you can defend a line-out mark. One is in the air when you challenge for it. The other one is when it's on the ground. RUNY decide to stay on the ground.
Wow, that concludes the first quarter of the match here. It's warm and the players are hydrating. Don't go anywhere, as we'll be back in about a minute. Welcome back to Torero Stadium. It's 7 points to 0 in favor of the visitors, RUNY. Be sure to check out 20th Century Fox's upcoming film, Dark Phoenix. The Phoenix will rise, the X-Men will fall. Now playing, rated PG-13. And let's go down to Stacey Pates once again.
With head coach Rob Hoadley of these Legion right now, New York with the edge. What contributed to that early score?
Well, I don't think it's brain surgery. It's 5 penalties against us, 3 at set piece, 1 at the defensive breakdown. You know, they weren't getting anywhere with their attack at those stages. So it's a pretty simple message to stay away from those penalties. And then in attack, we look very threatening, we look very physical through the middle. We're creating spaces, but we're going to definitely have to be clinical here in the end of this first half. And we know it's an 80-minute game, so we've got to keep trusting what we're doing, and we'll open them up.
Good luck the rest of the way, Coach. Thanks.
Cheers.
Pete, just what Rob Hoadley was saying, I agree with him, especially the pleasing thing about San Diego is they are at least creating those opportunities. For mine, he said, it's just being clinical, it's finishing those opportunities.
It is, and it's reducing those penalties.
9. Go.
A slew of penalties against the Legion has kept them at 0 as Peterson comes across to field. The high ball takes it well. Buys his time, allows for his supporters to come in, win ball. Augsburger's there. Gives it to Pifoletti, the older of the two brothers, at 22 years of age. Augsburger, Peterson, JP Duplessis has a little juggle and he has it ripped out, but that might be offside.
Knock on by who?
Let's play on. No, it wasn't.
The tackle scrum.
Interesting call there. You could hear the referee, Woodbridge, saying, hey, what happened? He has conversations with his assistant referees on the sideline, and they'll tell him what he saw, and he said, okay, there was a knock on. Which way was it? I think I'm with you, Mark. I think that was a penalty, because if one team knocks it on, and then a player in front plays it from that team, then that should be a penalty. You'll see the ball gets knocked on right there, and you'll see Cathal March, he plays the ball, so I think a little bit lucky there by RUNY.
Yeah, that was a tough one to call. For a second there in that replay, it looked like Matthias had actually got his hand on it, so that is a knock back. Therefore, play on, in my eyes anyway. Referee Anthony Woodthorpe has the last say with the help of his assistant referee, and this is the decision, and now it's a new decision. It's a free kick to San Diego, and they go quickly. Duplessis steps off the left a couple of times. Unclean there, and they've lost it once again. This is uncharacteristic sloppy play from San Diego.
So when there's a free kick or a penalty, the defense has to be back 10 meters. If they're not back 10 meters, they get an advantage. The referee sees as it works out, and then they play again.
And the Legion looking to up the ante in this match, raising the pace of the game. Something they're very comfortable with as Furno gets involved again and knows off that left foot. So hard to contain. Growing in stature now in this match. Paddy Ryan launching forward. Furno again juggling. I'm wondering if the ball is a little slippery out there. Little flick on the inside to Enosa. RUNY defending their hearts out right now. Duplessis stepping up as a leader. 3 touches in about a minute for him. Augsburger, no counter, says the referee. Augsburger's allowed to dig it out. Wuching in the pocket. Oh, and Furno just had a little look there. And it's play on. Paddy Ryan comes around.
So no advantage.
So I'm laughing there, Mark, because we have forwards and we have backs. The forwards are in the scrum. They tend to be the physical guys. The backs tend to be the players that play with space, that pass and kick. So when Paddy Ryan kicks that ball, it ends up being really difficult. But look at this play by Nate Augsburger. Enosa coming through on the line, and really good scramble defense by Mike Patry. That looked like it had a chance to be a try, but it was saved by that lost, desperate tackle.
And Pete, that little move there takes so much understanding between players. Little flick past the no look, the timing so crucial.
It's good, much better now, but keep a little bit, okay? Number 15 needs to stop trying to talk to me.
And we've got time to hear from Stacey Pates, who is with a guest right now.
Mark, thank you so much. Kenny Nesegenge, last regular season game just last weekend here. This happened, a displaced fracture on his dominant arm rather. And Kenny, you came in the last 60 minutes, or you came in at the 60th play, the last 20 minutes of the game. When did you know it was broken?
I didn't know it was broken until Tuesday. So, yeah, I played with it. The doctor had a look. He said I was gonna go to the Dr. Chow. So he checked and he's like, oh, it's not good.
No, it's not good, y'all. I've seen the x-ray, and I think the medical term is oof. It is broken. It was absolutely, completely broken. So you played the entire, your entire 40 minutes, I believe, with a broken arm. Why did you choose to stay? You had to be in pain.
I don't know. Because I just got in and it happened. So I was like, I'm not going out. My brothers need me, so yeah. So I stayed on until I got out, and then Matt, our trainer, had a look and he was like, I'm gonna go check it after. So then Tuesday I went to the doctor and he was like, it's not good.
Successful surgery on Friday. We're glad to hear that. Kenny, thank you so much for your time. And you guys heard it here. He said he played with that broken arm because he just got in and his brothers needed him. Simple as that, guys. Kenny, thanks.
Thank you.
Wow, thank you, Stacey. And oof, indeed.
Yes, please.
And there's no questioning the toughness of these rugby players. And I wonder if Kenny would have been playing today had they not forced him to go to the doctor. He probably would have played on it as well in this semi-final, Pete.
Well, I think it tells you something about the family atmosphere that San Diego have. They play for each other. The competition on this team is immense, especially in the forwards. And what a brave player that guy is.
Wu-Ching, straight through, out of nowhere.
He's taken the ball, first man.
And it's a turnover.
First man taken the ball.
And I tell you what, RUNY needed that turnover.
Stay low. Now somewhere.
Because they found themselves all of a sudden back in their 22 from a great charge from Sam Wu-Ching. But Kochel-Marsh sends it high. It's come off the side of the boot. It'll go out in the full, and it'll be a line out just over the 22. Boyle looking to go quickly. He settles it down. Wow, what a break from the Legion.
Well, came from just a really beautiful play. JP du Plessis is such a strong runner, but he can also pass the ball. The problem was there was no support for Wu-Ching, and therefore it ended up being a turnover by O'Keefe, coming in, doing really, really great work. So when you have those breaks, you either need to pass the ball, you've got to slow down, make sure someone gets there.
We have to give some credit to Ben Foden there, who was unshakable, made that tackle, just put his whole body into that, and then came up with a turnover. Du Plessis back on the inside to Manihera. Augsburger to Ryan, the Australian version.
Stay low, 7.
Augsburger back down the short side. Floating pass from Peterson.
Tackle!
A little dangerous, and Boyer does well to bring it in under pressure. Penalty to the Legion.
Legal turnover, but he's on the wrong side. Yeah, legal turnover.
So you can hear the referee say that it was a legal turnover, but the first thing that has to happen at a tackle legally is the tackler has to roll away. And the referee said, hey, the person on their feet, they were able to come in and take the ball, but the tackler didn't roll away. And if he doesn't roll away, nothing after that matters. And here we are, still with San Diego, with the pressure, but without the score. They need to score quickly before they really get frustrated.
28 minutes gone, and the home team, #1 on top of the table after the regular season, are scoreless. Could this be the opportunity now that sees them get themselves on the scoreboard? Augsburger under pressure, gets it away. Du Plessis seeing plenty of Du Plessis in this first half. Augsburger has a crack, spins. Crowder on their feet. Slow ball, picking and driving. Now there's a player down for New York. They're driving, they're over the line. It's a try. It's a try under the posts for San Diego. They've broken their seal after 28 minutes and 50 seconds. And they have a chance to equalize this score.
Well, like I said, they needed to turn their territory and pressure into points. And you can see what they're doing with Duplessis. He's got runners on the outside. He had Wuching on the outside. He threw the dummy, and that's what got them over the gain line. That got them going forward. Osberger makes a step. Good defense, but over time, just unable. New York just unable to hold out. You can see them come in, a good hit, but eventually they run out of strong defenders and they're able with the drive to get over the line.
Yes, and I feel what may have had an impact, Pete, in the lead up to that try is what you're seeing right now. Player down injured for New York. Put a lot of pressure on the defense of RUNY to get themselves set. So they were effectively playing with a man down. That was Ross Deacon on the ground for that entire phase leading up to the try, Pete.
And he's one of their really critical players. He's the glue. He does all the work that you don't see in the stats. And he's also one of their physical defenders, and they really missed him.
No, away, please. You're stepping back.
Peterson unfazed by the false starting RUNY forwards there.
And that's one of the things you can do is you can get after the kicker as soon as they move, and you can see Piffoletti, look at that body position, gets low, is able to drive over the top, and just with the support of Lou Stanfield driving on, there was nothing that was going to stop them. Low shoulders, Mark, low shoulder wins in the contact, and that's what he was able to do.
Well, as you often say, Pete, the only way to stop a Piffoletti that's running so low is to get lower than him. And even then, you are no guarantees of stopping the big man. Duplessis has really stepped up today, showing his leadership, takes that ball under pressure, settles things down for the Legion. Look at that territory. 70% territory in favor of San Diego, but as you've mentioned many times, Pete, just unable to capitalize. They finally did.
They did, but a great kickoff and a great kick chase has given RUNY a chance from their strong line out with this really great attacking platform. But what they haven't been able to do, Mark, is they haven't been able to get any go forward through the middle of the New York defense. That New York defense, you'll see them continue to go back and forth. They'll change direction. That minimizes the speed that San Diego can launch and put pressure on them. But they're going to need to do something a little special to be able to break this San Diego defense down.
Some great scenes of the cohort as well, the world-famous Legion cohort, the big red wall in the stand. Adding that extra support, and it's stripped. Big turnover for San Diego. Veramalua continues the charge as Augsburger looks to kick. He's found some space. Wallace Sims has to get back. Foden calls him off, and the ball goes dead. Clever play and great direction from Ben Foden.
Well, actually, really good call by Nate Osberger. He looked up on when there's a turnover, Mark. The hardest place to realign on defense is the wing. He saw that Connor Wallace-Sims was up. He kicked over, but if you kick it and the ball goes dead through the back, it comes all the way back to where you kicked it, and it's the opposition scrum. So even though that was a great decision, the execution wasn't as good, and that means New York get the let off, and now they have another scrum. Now their scrum has been under pressure, but they've been able to. Ross Deacon at the back and John Quill and Mike Petrie have been able to clear it. And I think that's what we see. We see Ross Deacon is off and John Quill now moving to number 8. Not as experienced. That might actually cause some challenges for them at the base of the scrum.
So you see now RUNY with the scrum feed. Back line set out.
Yeah. We had a bit of weight from red and then a bit of weight from white.
Yep,
Let's
Ben
go again,
Foden
please.
in the line as well, looking to get involved. You can't see on your screen, but Peterson is back at fullback, covering the space. Should there be a kick?
And they've done that a lot, Mark, because they bring Tyanosa up to fly half. It gives their better kicker at the back. And remember, we've seen they want to play territory, and so they put their best kicker at fullback to be able to return a kick.
Just on that, Pete, you say Joe Peterson is their better kicker. I mean, he tops the league in kicking meters, 4,044. Koppel Marsh for RUNY is ranked 12th with 1,683 kicking meters this season. And a penalty at scrum time to RUNY.
Well, that's a really big win for the RUNY pack. You can see how happy they are. They were able to put pressure on the San Diego pack, and what the referee looks for when he sees a team going forward is the team going backwards still staying square. And what he said is, hey, when you were going backwards, you were what we call wheeling. You were turning to the side, trying to mitigate the pressure that was on you. And I think you'll be able to see it here. So you'll see New York get the drive on. Here it comes, it's about to come. Great patience, they get the drive on, and you can see San Diego just letting it turn, and the referee says, you can't do that. You have to stay square. One of the laws that the referees are really looking for in the scrum.
So Dylan Fawcett gets it in, throws to the back of the line out. RUNY bring it down. Starting to find their groove at line out time now. RUNY.
Don't change.
And that's a wonderful drive. Finally comes out. Oh, the ball goes to ground, turned over. Nos is right there to take it on. Quick play. Ball goes out. Beautiful tap from Matthias. Peterson shows some gas. Space ahead. Peterson. Will he win the race? No. Foden will.
No.
The England international saves the day for RUNY, as now they have the task of bringing it out from their 22. Ball goes back, hurried kick under pressure, it'll stay in play. Owen Boyer has made a meal of it.
12.
But no damage done, because it's coming back for the penalty for offside.
Well, New York can't afford to have those turnovers in those attacking positions against a team that is as strong as San Diego. And San Diego, we said this at the opening, Mark, they're so good in creating try-scoring opportunities through the turnovers that their defense causes. You can see right here, I think it's Will Leonard comes in, there's a bit of a turnover, and then the pass that comes from here is just absolutely beautiful from Ryan Matthias, able to get that ball, tap it on the little tap pass. And I think, again, Joe Peterson, I'm not sure that he's actually really looking at it. I think he could draw that last player, look for Nick Boyer, but of course Nick Boyer doesn't quite have the pace of a genuine wing. He's a very talented rugby player, normally plays scrum half. I feel like if it was Matthias there or Connor Kearns, he might have looked at it, but they're going for the 3 points to take the lead.
Picture of concentration is Joe Peterson. And 3 points to extend their lead. 10 points to 7 in favor of the Legion.
Very interesting choice, I thought, there by San Diego. They've had a couple of penalties. When there's a penalty, you can kick to touch and take the line out. You can actually choose a scrum, which sometimes we've seen San Diego do, or you can kick for points and get the 3 points. They had other kickable kicks, but I think coming near the end of the half, if they could go in at half-time with some of the errors that they've made and the penalties they've given away, I think Rob Hoadley would be pretty happy with that.
I agree, Pete. We talk about it often, just that psychological advantage of going into halftime leading. Even if it's by a few points, Foden beats one. Gets the offload away. One of the leaders in this major league competition in offloads is Ben Foden, as now RUNY sets sail out to this open side. Using the width, looks like it's turned over. Furno gets in. No, it was illegally done.
Josh Furno's a great player, but he's really causing some penalty problems. Here we are, there's 2 minutes to go. He's given away a penalty that gives RUNY another great opportunity with their line out. And the penalties for San Diego, it's been something we've talked about all year when we've done their games, Mark. We talked about it last week, but they've finally got a team that I think has the makeup to be able to punish them. The other thing I would say is it doesn't look like it's very windy. I think it's pretty gusty, but the wind is definitely in the face of RUNY, and you can see that with their clearing kicks not quite going as far, so they might be pretty happy, even if they don't get the score here, Mark, being 3 points down at half-time, because they'll have the wind at their back.
Well, an all-important defensive effort for the Legion coming up in this phase. It's nearly half-time. San Diego lead. But here comes RUNY. Can they go into the dressing rooms, leaders, after this play?
It's a maul!
The referee, it's a maul. So what? And the arm is out, playing advantage, potentially offside.
Penalty advantage, white!
Ball goes down, so they have the advantage. Let's see what Petrie does.
So the referee's saying, you can see it's moving, it says people are working there around the edge. What we talk about, Mark, is in rugby you have to come from your own side. Whenever there's a tackle, if it's a ruck or a maul, you can't come around the side. You have to come through the gate. And he said people came in, I think that was Manny Hara that came in on the side. And it's interesting to see in RUNY's line out, they're throwing away from Josh Furno. They're dummying a jump where Furno is, and they're throwing somewhere else. And that's a really smart move because Furno's already disrupted 2 of their lineouts.
So RUNY will have another attempt at that play. They need to win line out cleanly, bring it down, tighten up their maul and their drive. You see San Diego pile in to counter that drive. It looks like RUNY have come up trumps on this occasion. They're over the line, it's a try! RUNY have scored! From the line out, right before halftime. The visitors again have silenced the crowd here at Torero Stadium.
Well, we've talked about their line-out maul, we've talked about the San Diego penalty, and this is just so well executed. You'll see it comes up, Nate Brakely takes it, and look at the drive. They're able to just keep their hips square, so even when the maul goes around, they keep their hips square and then able to get over the line, and a great try.
Thanks, fella.
12 points to 10 in this first semi-final of Major League Rugby 2019.
And that's, of course, Dylan Fawcett, who is the league leader from hooker in tries scored, and that's because of RUNY's proficiency in their line-out drive in the attacking part. And I'm sure he would say, hey, it's all the other 7 members of the forwards that get me over the line. I just have to fall down.
Of course, plenty of Irishmen in this pack, Pete, and so well drilled. He misses the conversion. That may haunt RUNY later on, but it's halftime here at Torero Stadium. We expected a close clash. It's a narrow lead to RUNY, 12 points to 10.
Well, such a physical game, such a physical game. I think it's going to continue to be a physical game in the second half.
I agree, Pete. Don't go away. We're going to take a short break and come back with some halftime comments. I need my cards.
Cards on the deck.
Cards. All of them. Go. I can hear you. Can you hear me? Okay. Wow, that's a lot. Okay. Okay, I've got card 2. Welcome back, card 2. Yep, got that. 16. Yep. Straight after Pete's comment into 17, and then after that. Welcome back to Torero Stadium. It's halftime in the first semi-final of Major League Rugby. RUNY, the visitors, are leaders, 12 points to 10. Tonight at 9 Eastern, the Major League Rugby playoffs continue as Seattle and Toronto go head-to-head and fight for a spot in the championship game right here on CBS Sports Network. The 2018 Major League Rugby Championship. Glendale Raptors versus the Seattle Seawolves. Glendale started out with an early lead behind 2 Zach Fenolio tries, but Seattle responded with 2 tries within 3 minutes to clinch the 23-19 win. Wow, welcome back. It's halftime here in the first semi-final of Major League Rugby 2019. What an exciting half, Pete. 12 points to 10, close game. What's the main thing that separates these two teams right now?
Well, Mark, San Diego have played all of the rugby. They've had the territory, but they haven't taken their opportunities, and their penalties are killing them. The line-out maul of New York, their strength is really being told here in this game.
February 17, Starfire Sports up in Washington. The Arrows took a 13-point lead early in the second half behind an Andrew Ferguson try and a pair of penalty goals. But Seattle answered with back-to-back tries to cut the lead to 1, and Brock Staller followed with 2 penalty goals of his own to give the Seawolves the 35-30 comeback win. In April 28, York Stadium, Toronto. Toronto's Mike Shepard scored the first try of the game, leading the Arrows to an 8-point halftime lead. Leandro Leiva crossed the try line early in the second half to extend their lead to 13. And in the 70th minute, the Arrows captain scored a memorable 65-meter try, securing all 5 points for the hosts in a dominant 29-7 win.
Well, this is going to be a great game tonight. The home field advantage in Starfire is really important for the Seawolves, but the Arrows have not played their best. I think they can pull it off. Can they match up against that scrum? That's the question, but I think it's going to be another physical battle up north tonight.
So much rugby coming up in this second half. It promises to be a thriller here at Torero. Don't go anywhere. 12 points to 10 in favor of RUNY. We'll be right back after the break. Welcome back to Torero Stadium. It's halftime in this first semi-final, and the visitors, surprise leaders perhaps, 12 points to 10 over the hosts, the Legion, in favor of RUNY. And on Tuesday night at 7 Eastern, get ready for a WNBA showdown as the Washington Mystics take on the Connecticut Sun right here on CBS Sports Network, the 24-hour home of CBS Sports. And let's go to Stacey Pates, who is with Mikey Teo.
Thank you so much. It's always a pleasure and a privilege to have a conversation with Mikey Teo, one of the best humans you could ever meet. And unfortunately, he's not wearing the boot that I would prefer to see him in. And while he's not doing the work on the field, he's definitely doing the work up in the stands. You're cheering your team on, barely have a voice left, and you're being part of the spirit of the crowd here. How are you pouring into your team while not in uniform?
First off, I want to thank God for this beautiful opportunity for my teammates and New York as well to play this beautiful playoff game. And yeah, the crowd, being in the crowd, it's amazing. Last week we had over 4,000 people here, and I got to sit next to my dad and finally have that bond with him and watch the game with him, so that means a lot. And yeah, just trying to scream as loud as I can, cheer on the boys, and just trying our best.
Well, your spirit and your energy is definitely felt with your mates as well. When you think about these semifinals, he was injured all last season, guys, and he came back and had the best season of his career. This high ankle sprain just happened on the last regular season game just last weekend, and you came back stronger than ever. How has your mental aptitude been through this specific injury?
I've just been holding true to my standards. When I got injured, went through some rough patches, but now that I've been through that, it's a 5-week injury is way easier than 9 months. And yeah, I'm a lot stronger now mentally, physically, and spiritually. So I have that going for me.
Let's talk about your appraisal of the first half. Lots of penalties. I know when you guys started the season, you wanted to build your reputation on being guys that wouldn't back down, but there has to be a balance between avoiding penalties. What are you seeing in that first half?
I think we're just trying to we're letting them get into our heads, a lot of pushing and shoving rather than just sticking to our job. So a lot of penalties have been happening. Scoreboard down by 2. It's probably a good thing we're down by 2, because now that'll give us a good halftime speech, which is going on right now, to bring us out firing. We're against the wind this half, so it'll probably be a lot more running and playing rugby. So,
what do you expect is being said in the locker room right now?
I think just calm noises. So we played New York earlier this year. We were down at halftime. We had the best halftime speech by Patty Ryan, one of our captains, and we made a break. 1, 2, 3, love. We came out unstoppable. We won the rest of the game.
If you were doing the 1, 2, 3 break, what would your word be?
I'd probably go love. It worked last time. So yeah, we love each other. We train hard for each other, and we just want to be worthy to play next to our brothers. So that's our goal.
And speaking of brothers, we talked to Kenny Nasaganga earlier, and that's one of the things he told us. He stayed in that game with a broken his brother. Thank you so much for being part of this broadcast.
Thank you.
All right, Mikey. 12-10 is the score right now, as Mikey Teo just said. He was talking about what is going on in this locker room. Will the Legion turn it around? Stay tuned.
reach. Yes, agreed.
Welcome back to Torero Stadium in San Diego, where the visitors from New York lead this first semi-final 12 points to 10 over San Diego. What a matchup. And Pete, talk us through how that first half unfolded.
Well, it started really well for San Diego. They had lots of possession and lots of territory, but three penalties in a row allowed New York to come near the line, and it was from the line out that Paddy Ryan was able to dive over. But eventually, San Diego were able to make the pressure tell with Faco Pifaletti coming over, and then a penalty kick gave San Diego the lead, and we thought, Mark, they would go in leading 10-7 at half-time, but a Josh Forno penalty gave New York another attacking platform, and their line-out drive, the best in the league. You can see here, keeping their hips square, and Dylan Fawcett, the league leader in tries, getting over, giving them 12-10 at half-time. And Mark, I think it's the penalties that have been really problematic for San Diego. They've had the territory, they know how to do that, but their penalties have been killing them, and it's been really interesting to see RUNY get the edge in the scrum. I think that's unexpected.
So as we expected, a close encounter, a tight matchup in the first half. And expect to see more of the same in the second half as we're underway, thanks to the boot of Joe Peterson. Knocked on from RUNY, not the start they wanted, as Augsburger sends it out wide to Peterson, who takes on the line. Augsburger again to Paddy Ryan, looks inside, finds Duplessis. Duplessis still going, Duplessis from the turnover at the kickoff. The Legion making their intentions known. Flat pass across to Ruching, back into Boyer. Nearly every player getting a touch. Replacement, Sylvia gets his first touch of the match. Coming in is Wuching. He finds Vermalua. Tackle! 2 meters from the line. Great hands there for the Legion as they drive forward. They're under the posts. Sure. 1 meter out. Augsburger comes in. He has players to the left, players to the right. Paddy Ryan steps in. Now he walks in to help out. Picking and driving. Could this be the first try? It is of the second half. The Legion, they have come out firing and they have reclaimed the lead.
Well, if that's what Love does at halftime, we need more love for San Diego. They came out, it was a great kickoff. They were able to put pressure, and then from their turnover, absolutely phenomenal play. They played at such speed. There's Paddy Ryan, and then back inside to Duplessis, who is everywhere. And their ability to be able to play at pace, great hands to be able to hold on to the ball. Look at the support come in, provide the drive, gets them close. Now, what I loved here is they slowed it down. You can see Nate Osborne say, hey, let's slow down. And even you said, Mark, hey, Paddy Ryan are kind of walking over, and there he goes. He walks over. You take your time when you're so close to the line, and then again, low man able to get over. And Josh Furno, who gave away those penalties in the first half, makes up for it with that score.
And of course, Joe Peterson also adds the extra 2 points on offer. Not a problem for him. Right in front of the posts.
And I think it's one of the things that Mikey Teo said when he was talking with Stacey is they're playing into the wind. It actually helps your attack because when you pass the ball, it comes into you. We should see more of that from San Diego.
Ball goes along for RUNY down into the arms of Duplessis, who has been absolutely everywhere today. The ball might have gone forward, and it has.
Yeah, it's gone forward. Just gone forward for me.
You know, Mark, as I coached at higher and higher levels, I realized that it's the kickoff that is such a great turner of momentum. We saw it in the opening kickoff with a knock-on by RUNY, and then we see JP Duplessis unable to what we call exit your 22. You want to get it outside the 22. So RUNY here now have an opportunity to return the favor of that early good start and get back to the lead.
And Pete, you mentioned how important kickoffs are, the psychology of kickoffs. When you've just scored a try, you are susceptible to the opposition coming back twice as hard. So as you mentioned, if you're not on your game and focused on taking that ball and getting out of your zone, you are under pressure, and it's exactly what's happened here. Perhaps a little lapse in concentration for San Diego as RUNY came firing back.
I know it's very loud here, so I'll make it louder, but there's a lot of pressure coming through there.
Nathan Sylvia is on at loose head, coming in for Paco Pifoletti. And I talked to Scott Murray before, and he said it's so
we're holding our weight
between those two guys. The Pifoletti's work rate is so high, but Nathan Sylvia came on last week and really had an impact, and that's what they're looking for in this scrum as he goes up against the experienced Paddy Ryan at prop.
Crouch!
If you're just joining us for the first time, welcome. If you've been watching the whole time, thank you for joining us. It's 17 points to 12, penalty to RUNY in this first semi-final. I'm Mark Stabina, joined by Stacey Pates on the sideline, Pete Steinberg in the booth.
Lost your foot.
And again, a little bit of an edge there with RUNY. You could hear the referee say you lost your feet. So in the scrum, you have to hold it up. You cannot go down deliberately. And under pressure, what happens is the props at the front row will often lose their footing. And when they lose the footing, the referee will penalize them because it makes it dangerous. And so the referee right there said you lose your feet. And again, you talked about, Mark, the momentum turner. Here we have RUNY a chance with Cahill Marsh, one of the best kickers in the league. Easy kick for him, surely, and again gets within 2 points.
Cahill Marsh, the Irishman, 26 years of age, hails from Dublin. And it's successful. Let's go down to Stacey Pates.
Well, the name Cahill translates into great warrior, and this is a gentleman that could have elected to stay in his home country of Ireland and play and have a great career, but when he found out the opportunity to play in the U.S. was presented, he took it because he never had a chance to really travel and see the U.S. And Pete, it's so exciting to see him make that dream come true to play the game he loves on U.S. soil.
It does, and he was really a top player at Leinster, but he was behind Johnny Sexton, one of the best fly halves in the world. So he decided to come here, travel, which is something he wasn't able to do when he was younger, and also get to play.
Box kick goes up, and Wu Ching has trouble with that one. It's going to go off the shoulder and into the sideline, so...
No, backwards.
It's gone backwards, so it will just be a line out now to RUNY.
Well, one of the things that I think might be hard for people to see at home is that the fact that the sun is out. It's a beautiful day, and it was a great kick by Mike Petrie, able to get that ball right into the sun, and I think Sam Wu Ching lost it in the sun, and that's why he wasn't able to hold on to it.
Difficult take for Wu Ching. It was over the shoulder as well. Ball goes to the back.
Line out was over.
Great line out. Cahill Marsh is flat from Petrie. Will Leonard brings the play forward. They're up over the halfway. A spring in their step has RUNY.
All San Diego need to do is just not give away penalties. They haven't shown the ability to break them defensively. If they're just patient, they should be able to force New York into a kick.
Mark O'Keefe comes in. His team needs to see a little bit more of him and not releasing. So penalty to San Diego and frustration for RUNY.
Again, you can see the intensity. These guys are playing for a championship berth, and you can see any little thing that goes on.
I got him. Excuse me, I'm going to talk to him. I got him. You don't need to shout at me.
Sorry, I can't hear you.
Yeah, I understand, but still don't shout.
Okay,
all right?
no problem, yeah.
Okay, I will have a word with him. Be careful, I'm going to speak to him.
Is that not a reversal though?
No, it's not. It's very different to the first half. Where's 7? If you do that again, I'll put you in the bin. Yeah.
So Tony Woodthorpe really keeping the culture of rugby alive by saying, hey guys, none of this showboating, none of this getting in the face and taunting. You've just got to make sure, just play the game or we'll put it in the bin.
And that's a miss from Peterson. Unlike him, to not find touch from the penalty. He's now, the Legion find themselves all the way back in the 22. Peterson on ball again, bringing his team up now just over their 40-meter.
And you can see the tackle. They were complaining about Manihara, and that was Sam Wuching. Oh no, that was JP Duplessis, sorry, coming in. And what you see is Sam Wuching coming in and just saying, hey, thanks a lot, that's good, that's not part of the game, says Tony Woodthorpe. You don't taunt. And he said, you do it again, and you're going to sit down for 10 minutes. Great management, I think, there by the referee.
He's had a good game so far.
Beyond 15. No, line out's over, beyond 15. So tackle, let it
goes
come.
Backwards.
Tackle, let
Still
it come.
in the hands of RUNY as they look to go down the short side. Oh, and that's a knock-on. Miscommunication for RUNY.
And we're still not seeing RUNY being able to open up the defense of San Diego. They're really struggling under the pressure, and if San Diego, if they just don't contest at the right as hard, if they just stay on side, they'll be good. You can see as the ball comes, the launch and the pressure is what causes that knock. Not a great pass there either by Mike Petrie.
Pete, let's just have a quick chat about how much this means to the Legion club today. A packed house, should they win today, back here for the final. It's a lot to play for and a lot of pressure.
It is, and they're not doing themselves any favors. They've played the rugby, and RUNY have taken their opportunities. But I think RUNY are going to really look to their bench to be impactful.
Huge shove from RUNY coming through, ball's out. Petrie can't handle it. Peterson does well. 7! He wins that round. As the Legion find themselves with a line out to the left. Manihara. He's had a mountain of carries today, as has Veramalua, try scorer last week in their victory over NOLA. Always turns up in support. False start from RUNY. That was Denise on that occasion. Got away with it, as now Augsburger changes the point of attack and nearly gets through. Augsburger always threatening. In comes Kearns as acting scrum half. This is one out stuff at the moment.
No.
Peterson, first receiver, fires it across. Duplessis, dummies, goes through, gets an arm free. Looks like a high tackle as well, and they're playing advantage now as a referee for that. Stanfeld stands his ground. Peterson looks for space. Penalty, it'll come back, no advantage for the Legion.
And this is one of the areas that I think rugby of all sports is really proactive, and that's around the idea of defending the player's head. And you can see anything above the shoulder is going to be called a high tackle nowadays, Mark. And it's just one of those things where rugby is very conscious about concussions, and they want to lower that tackle contact point.
What was interesting is that man there who had the high tackle, kept driving his legs. He was unfazed by that hand around his throat. Just shows the character of that man.
Thank you.
To keep going, pushing for his team today.
Elgin, come to me.
One of the great leaders of this Legion team is JP Duplessis. As the Legion now have a line out just outside the 22 of RUNY. The crowd over on that side behind Piffoletti getting to their feet, willing
for what?
Their home team on, and Wurching comes in,
within 5,
gets a hard shoulder to the chest. Paddy Ryan comes around the corner. He's turned in the tackle. The counter comes in. It's play on. Augsburger cleans up.
Tackle 12.
Under pressure from New York.
Stay low.
The Legion holding on to a narrow 2-point lead. Inosa off that dangerous left foot, heavily marked as you can see. Paddy Ryan must be his 1000th carry of this match. Piffoletti charging forward. Peterson comes around, takes on the defense. He's met by two very large humans in white and blue jerseys. Stanfield, same way. Legion recycling nicely. Duplessis comes in again. Ball comes loose. Boyer is quick on it. He's played scrum half before. Very comfortable in that role. Paddy Ryan, yet again. What an engine on that man. As Peterson looks inside. Connor Kearns looking to get involved.
New York really holding well, being very physical, matching up against the forwards.
Veramalua takes the ball one off the rock, straight into the traffic. Slow ball again for the Legion. Out now, back inside, Boyer takes it on himself. Could he have used the support? It doesn't matter now as the Legion still have the ball. Some pushing and shoving in back play. Plenty of feeling in this match. And it's a penalty, RUNY.
Piffoletti came through as what we call a blocker, which means he got in the way of a defender trying to make a tackle. And again, San Diego were able to move the ball wide, but they weren't taking the opportunities. Two players outside. So what we have here, Mark, is we have what's called the television match official. There's a referee on the sideline looking for issues of foul play. We'll hear what he says.
Against white 17. Okay, thank you very much.
So he says foul play against white 17, which would be a huge loss for RUNY.
Foul play against white 17 on red 10. Just around the halfway mark, is it, on the 10 metre? Can I have the ball?
Referee asking for the ball says, can I have the ball? So this is where the television match official is going back, looking at replays. The foul play in those situations, I think most often, I think that could have been when Joe Peterson took the ball in and was hit late. And the question is, does he finish the tackle? So that, I think, is what they're looking at, and I would say that's foul play because once Joe Peterson moves the ball, even though the contact was made, he shouldn't finish the tackle, and you can see he finished the tackle without the ball, and you can't play the man without the ball.
I was about to ask Pete before I saw that replay right there. Could it be a case of the tackler just not knowing that the ball was thrown? But I'd have to say, he must have seen that ball get slipped away.
Yeah, I think it's like one of those things when we talk about foul play and we talk about safety, it's not about the intent. We have to keep the players safe. Let's hear what the referee has to say.
So something happened over there, but we have no camera angles, so therefore we're going to stick to the original penalty by obstruction by red 2. Okay, but we'll keep an eye.
No worries, thank you.
All right. Did you hear that?
No, yeah, you just said you couldn't see
so
it,
there's no camera angle to look at white 17 off the play stuff. Keep discipline, please. We're sticking to the original penalty.
So Pete, all we saw there was the tackle that we talked about a lot. But I think what they really wanted to look at was what happened once Joe Peterson got to his feet. I saw some pushing and shoving out of the corner of my eye. Perhaps that's what they were trying to get an angle on, and they couldn't.
Yeah, well, that could well be the case. I think RUNY were lucky to get away with that, but I come back to the opportunity that Nick Boyer had with two players outside them. That's the third time San Diego have had overlaps over on the outside, and they haven't moved the ball. And I think that should be the message that Rob Hoadley gives them as this half moves on.
I have to give a shout out because it looked like plenty of great camera angles to me. Great work from our camera crew here at Torero Stadium. Got to see that tackle on Peterson. Cahill Marsh sends it high into the sun. Peterson throws his arm out. He couldn't see a thing until it finally came to ground. Pounces on it. The Legion now back inside. That was forward. Definitely a forward pass, and the referee right on the spot to call that one.
And it's these errors that San Diego, you can feel the pressure of playoff rugby, right? You can feel they're under this pressure and they're making some of the errors. They're trying to do a little bit too much. So the ball comes wide and you can see you cannot pass the ball forward. That's obviously forward. Fortunately, we had the line of the 22 to show us how forward that was. And I think just, again, the kick by Cahill Marsh was really interesting because they haven't been able to generate go forward with ball in hand. And maybe the kick mark with the sun in the eyes, you could see Joe Peterson lose that ball. Maybe that's what they do. They've got in Mike Petrie a great kicking 9. Joe Peterson a great kicking, Cahill Marsh a great kicking 10. They've got real opportunities to put pressure on the back three of the Legion.
And also, as Mikey Teo mentioned, they also have the breeze behind them. RUNY. So they have the elements on their side in this second half, but they don't have the lead as the Legion are hanging on by 2 points. Not only has that forward pass hurt them
That's why we reset.
by losing possession, but at this particular point of the field, it's a great attacking opportunity for RUNY right now.
Well, and they've made some subs, so you can see Dylan Fawcett all the way back at number 8. He's normally their hooker, but he's played a number of games at number 8. They've moved him back because he's such a dynamic runner from the base. I think if RUNY can get a little bit of a shove on, I think you might see Dylan Fawcett take the ball, come down to the right, down the blind side.
Crouch!
Mike Petrie, the captain, 34 years of age from Brooklyn, New York, US Eagles. Legend, 57 caps for his country. Feeds the scrum, and the RUNY scrum earns a penalty.
17.
What will they do here, Pete?
Well, interesting question. I think that if I'm RUNY, you're not going to beat the San Diego team with 3 points, but that's what they've chosen. I think with the line out that RUNY have, I would have gone for the 7, but these 3 points give them the lead. So you've got Cahill Marsh, one of the best kicker in the league. You can see the logic behind it, but it's not the decision that I would make. I think more importantly is the fact that throughout this game, RUNY's scrum has had dominance over what has been a very good scrum throughout the year. Nathan Sylvia is really struggling against Paddy Ryan. The question is, how long can Paddy Ryan at tight head for RUNY stay on the field? And of course, they've got some strong players coming off the bench, but they're not as strong as Paddy Ryan.
So Cahill Marsh for this 3 points and the lead. They trail by 2. They've been in it all game. They've had the lead at one stage. Marsh puts it up and it just shaves the right upright. So the score remains 17-15 in favor of the hosts.
Well, you know, that's one of the reasons why I think you go for the line out. The other reason is that the RUNY line out 5 meters from the line has not been something that we've seen San Diego stop, and that ball just drifts to the right. I think it's a little bit of the wind. Interesting, RUNY bringing on front row subs, right? They're saying, hey, we need to make some changes in the front row because our scrum is challenging. And Dino Waldron, who has 19 caps for the US coming in and is going to hopefully shore up the scrum from the tight head position.
Peterson with the 22-meter restart. Straight down to his opposite number, who then sends it inside to Foden, who sends it straight into the sun, and Foden retrieves his own kick, goes back inside. The step from James Denise is enough to get RUNY over the line.
Well, we talked about how they couldn't beat them with the ball in hand, so maybe the kick that was the way to do it. And another great kick by Marsh. You could see it was a real struggle for him to see it. Ben Foden was able to get it, but also was banged up a little bit on that. And then James Denise, the New York local player who's been out injured, comes off the bench to score the try. You can see just gets a little bit beaten up, and then nice step off the left foot for a back row forward, and a try there. Very, very smart play. RUNY are playing a much better tactical game than San Diego. Now they're playing territory, now they're playing the kicking game, and San Diego have really, it's really been off their errors that RUNY have had some of those opportunities.
Well, Pete, you can really see how the sun has become San Diego's worst enemy at the moment. Augsburger seem to have no chance at all locating that one in the air as Cottle Marsh adds the extras. Just have a look here, Pete.
Well, he has no idea where it is. It doesn't even know that it's near him. And a great follow-up by Ben Foden is what created that try. And here we go. Great game. Great game.
Well, that's the end of the third quarter. We're going to take a short break and come back for the last quarter of the match. Don't go anywhere, folks. Welcome back to Torero Stadium to sensational scenes. 22 points to 17 in favor of RUNY over San Diego. And on June 22nd, join CBS Sports Network on the court when the Big Three tips off their 2019 season, featuring basketball's biggest legends, all-stars, and champions. The summer's hottest hoops league is on the 24-hour home of CBS Sports. Welcome back to the action. It's the fourth quarter after the players have hydrated on their drinks break. And shortly before that, RUNY have reclaimed the lead. 22 points to 17. What a thriller here at Torero Stadium. Clearing kick coming in, so San Diego with the line out.
Well, two very interesting substitutions by RUNY. One forced, which is Ben Foden coming out and Luke Hume coming in at fullback, but the other one not forced. It's bringing Harry Bennett on at fly half for Cahill Marsh, because Harry Bennett has a bigger foot and is a bigger kicker. I think you're going to see RUNY decide to play territory the whole of the last 20 minutes of this game.
You're not wrong, Pete, about the boot of Harry Bennett. Towering kicks. Are they going to play the territory game and hold on to this somewhat narrow lead? Well, not if San Diego can have something to say about it as they have the ball. It's ripped
Straight
out of
back with
Augsburger's
White.
hands, and it's play on for RUNY. They bring it away down the short side.
No, 17.
Got some work to do
No.
to come out of their red zone. As they attempt to do it with ball in hand. Harry Bennett, you can see, might get his first
Take him
touch in the
back.
pocket. Let's see that boot of Harry
20.
Bennett.
20.
It's got a bend to it. It's straight down to Boyer. Didn't have too much trouble in the sun that time.
No, 12.
It was a low trajectory. Augsburger inside to Waldron. Slow ball. RUNY making a nuisance of themselves at ruck time. Duplessis. Flick out the back to Wuching. He looks back inside. Goes to ground before finding Augsburger. Boyer at scrum half. Through the hands into the middle of the field. Ends up with Sylvia. Is he isolated? They need to be careful, or this RUNY outfit will capitalize and pinch the ball at a moment's notice. So slow ball again, just settling things down. This San Diego team. Just under 20 minutes left to play here. It's sudden death. It's do or die at Torero Stadium.
Let it come.
And this home crowd, hoping for a home final next week, are somewhat silent right now. As Rugby United New York look to be in charge.
No, it's a run.
RUNY's defense is so physical that
it's a
San
run.
Diego just cannot generate quick ball at the tackle. You can see how slow this is. That allows them to set their line, and that's what's holding San Diego's attack from really being able to open them up.
Augsburger shows it to the left, gives it to the right as Stanfield comes around the corner. They usher him toward the sideline, but he manages to stay in.
Tackle!
Now the ball comes back toward the midfield. Wild pass, bringing it in like a basketballer was Peterson to Duplessis. Nowhere to go. All over him like a rash. This RUNY defense. Nearly through was Connor Kearns. We've seen more of Connor Kearns in this second half as Vera Malua does well to pick it up. Gets it away through the legs of Peterson out to Boyer.
Tackle 12.
He brings it in. Unable to advance on this RUNY defense are the hosts. Augsburger to Waldron.
Never on the ball.
Slow ball again.
18 away now, 18.
Come in and try and upset proceedings. Stanfield, you can see at scrum half. Boyer comes in to take over. Peterson to Enosa, puts on the gas, takes 3 to bring him down. Same way for the Legion. Duplessis, that's a penalty, obstruction.
No, come off
Well, just an amazing defensive stance by this RUNY defense. We talked early on about how this was going to be a battle of the physicality of the forwards, and RUNY right now are matching up against San Diego. San Diego are unable to generate the fast ball that they like to play, and it's also obvious to me that the message is let's keep the ball in hand, because I think in other situations Joe Peterson would have moved that ball much earlier and would have kicked it and tried to gain some territory.
No, play on.
Harry Bennett, replacement number 10.
Keep coming to me, Elgin. The mark's over here.
28-year-old from Scone in New South Wales.
So as you can see, he goes right behind Lou Stanfield, I'm sorry, Manny Hara, I think that's right there. Right behind, runs behind him. That prevents Connor Wallace to be able to make the tackle, therefore it's obstruction. That's why there's no blocking in rugby. You cannot be ahead of the ball if you're on attack.
And you saw Duplessis there. He knew it straight away, didn't he, Pete? As that pass nearly gets away from its intended target.
We're going to expect a kick pretty early because San Diego loves to live off these turnovers.
RUNY now coming back the other way. Luke Hume, his first touch.
On the ball.
Slippery character. Hume all the way up to the halfway line. He's done extremely well. Counter ruck from the Legion.
You're holding him in.
Slow ball.
This man. Excuse me, no. Scrum, why go forward, why scrum?
So when a ruck forms and the ball is not
10
available,
and 14
the team
reds,
that
change.
goes forward is the one that is the one that retains the ball, and we end up having a scrum. So RUNY had the ball, but it wasn't quite available. They were going forward, so that's why it's their scrum. And more changes going on. Interesting with Will Holder coming on, and Survey Toto Valsaru coming on with a little bit more dynamic play on the outside. Looks like Will Holder, as they've been doing, is going to fly half on defense with Joe Peterson behind. But look for San Diego to try and create these turnovers. If I'm New York, I don't want to hold on to this ball for too long before I kick it.
You're making more changes.
67 minutes gone on this clock. It's the first semi-final in the Major League Rugby 2019 season. 5 points in it.
Referee just checking to see if there's any more subs, and if this holds, this is going to go down as one of the big upsets. San Diego at home. They only lost 2 games all season. Now, one of them was against New York here, but that was the first game of the year. They were the form team. They had the depth. And RUNY are really playing a game that helps them get the win. Not pretty from RUNY, but it's how they need to play, and their defense has just been phenomenal.
Well, as it stands, we're certainly set up for a nail-biting finish here at Torero Stadium, and that's what San Diego needed.
There's no hook, it was fed. There was no hook, fed.
In rugby, we always talk about what's called a fair contest. So in a line-out and a scrum, the ball has to go down the middle, so both teams have a chance. And experienced scrum half Mike Petrie, the referee, said that was fed. That meant he gave the ball come in, and you can just see the possession change, but still in this second half, the Legion have held on to the ball more and more. They haven't kicked it as much, but the RUNY defense has been up to the challenge to hold on to them, and now they're going to be challenged again right here.
Well, that's a huge statistic in favor of the Legion, the lion's share of possession. But that right there is why they haven't been able to convert.
I think he was in line, not going on.
Another handling error. And we have to give some credit to the defense, Pete Steinberg. That is not Sam Wuching just voluntarily dropping the ball. That is strong defense coming in, putting him under pressure.
That's right, and I think the Legion need to do something differently. They're trying to attack in the middle against these forwards. I think they felt like coming in, they had an advantage there. But I would like to see them move the ball a little bit early, try and get the ball wider, as opposed to trying to bash through the middle, which isn't working for them.
Set!
So RUNY
Barely hooked.
with the scrum feed.
9, use it!
Coming up to 10 minutes left in this first semi-final. Bennett sends it into space. Low, driving kick. Boyer gets back after it. Fumbles the first attempt. Goes backwards, so it's fine. Peterson puts it high, somewhat long. Bennett's there, he lets it go.
Real classy kick there from Joe Peterson, under pressure, able to clear into the wind, get it out. One of the other interesting aspects was early on, Josh Forno was a real thorn in the side of the RUNY lineout, but now they're going away from him, but they're targeting Nate Brakely. So you'll see Nate Brakely's been a real key target. Josh Forno needs to mark up against Nate Brakely, take him away. He hasn't marked up again here, and I think they're going to go to the back to Brakely because that's where they've had success.
That man you mentioned, Joshua Furno, 29 years of age.
I need you in the hook.
Was a revelation last week. Late signing in this season.
Don't creep across. Okay.
Had a huge game. He had a huge start to this game. Can he step up in these dying stages to show his class?
Now he's taking away Brakely, I think. There
Great
it goes.
line-out win for RUNY as now comes through Bennett. A little step up the left from Leonard. No frills rugby from RUNY right now.
Tackle now, 8.
And Bennett at first receiver again. Drops it back on the inside.
9.
Quick ball now.
Tackle.
struggling to get over halfway is New York.
Tackle.
Slow ball. Petrie, Bennett sends it high into that sun again. Let's have a look, see who's got it. Peterson's under it, takes it beautifully.
And he called a mark.
Remember,
and this is one of these sort of rare things that you see. If the ball is kicked and you're inside your 22, so you're behind the 22-meter line, and you literally shout mark when you catch the ball, the play stops and you get a free kick. And this was a great catch into the sun under pressure. You can see O'Keefe right there under pressure, and as he called mark right when he caught it, you have to keep playing, because if the referee doesn't hear it, he doesn't give it to you. And we're back where we were before. Josh Furno needs to take away Nate Brakeley. Has to stop following the movement. He needs to stay at the back, take away Brakeley, make them throw at the front.
Great insight from the brilliant rugby mind of Pete Steinberg. As RUNY would just be happy with this cycle. Just keep putting it down into San Diego territory, have them kick it back and then repeat. That'll wind the clock down. They're in front at the moment, RUNY, as the home crowd need to get behind their team. You can hear some of the noise generate from the stadium. Stands over on the far side and the near side. The ends as well. Let's see what the referee's calling here. He's turning up the play. Looks like an injury.
Well, again, the concern about concussion, any kind of contact with the head, he's going to stop the play.
It may have been a clash between Matthias and Hume. Hume still on the ground. Oh, it looks like Hume just fell awkwardly in that, Pete. In actual fact, Matthias was nowhere near, so.
Yeah, that's accurate. Yeah, it's good. Thank you.
Well, this is a break that I think San Diego actually need. There's 8 minutes to go. They're really struggling. RUNY, you can see what RUNY have started to do. They said, hey, down with 10 minutes to go, we're up. We're not going to give the ball away. We're just going to hold on to the ball. They can do that time and time and time again.
Yes, they will. You can hear the crowd now getting behind the men in red and black. They've got time. They're within range. Under 8 minutes to play.
So the kicking game of RUNY in the second half with the wind and the sun in the eyes has been really critical, and it was Ben Foden's follow-up where Nate Osberger was unable to field it, and then James Denise coming off the bench to finish it, and that's been the difference in the game, Mark. One error, that's what playoff rugby is.
And that actually cost the injury of that man there, Ben Foden. Injured in that last play, but instrumental in the try that might be enough to take RUNY into the final next weekend. Luke Hume, big blow for RUNY. Sad moment for him. He's just come on the field. Now he's being helped off. Sincerely hope that it's not too serious.
White scrum has been stopped for the injury.
Big scrum here for San Diego, but they haven't shown the ability to put RUNY under pressure. If I'm RUNY, I keep this ball in, I drive it, see if we can get a penalty, kill some more time.
22 points to 17. The visitors from New York clinching this lead and a potential berth in the championship match next week.
Okay.
Referee checking with his assistant referee, said it went down.
Higher bind from you, please, and he can bring his feet up.
So he said to San Diego, said, bring your feet up. That's the Dino Waldron. And I think that is Chris Sullivan he said, hey, get your binds higher, so the assistant referee on that side will be looking. Be interesting, it'll be a big call for him to call a penalty here, Mark, so late in the game.
So RUNY to feed through Mike Petrie. Comes to the back. Petrie has Bennett. Bennett fires it across. Now, coming in on the angle was O'Keefe. Petrie spots a gap, but it closes quickly, and the ball is ripped by Matthias. Here come the Legion.
Tackle!
Torero takes the offload. Augsburger spots a half gap, takes a couple of yards. Easiest way over the gain line is through that fringe defense. Manahera does extremely well under pressure. See how quickly this RUNY defense just gets themselves set. Peterson takes the line. Boyer in, trying to generate quick ball. Duplessis. Ball was ripped, it's play on, and they have numbers now. They need to get it out quickly, they don't, they come back in, still going, RUNY.
All they have to do is hold on to the ball, Mark. They don't have to play fast, they don't have to do anything special. Just hold on to the ball and they can win this game.
Bennett, out to Wallace Sims now, it's gone out. Just before a high tackle. RUNY stepped over the sideline, it'll come back.
And that's what I mean. They tried to play it wide with 5 minutes to go. So with a couple of turnovers here and the big hits that have come in from the RUNY team, able to come through and get that ball and create that turnover. But right there, we don't want to see them move the ball quickly. What we want them to do is hold on to the ball and play slow. By moving the ball quickly, they gave the ball back to the Legion. It's another test for the RUNY defense against this Legion attack. 5 minutes to go, gave the ball back.
Well, when you say we, Pete, I'm sure the Legion fans would disagree with you. Clinging on to the hopes that their team will get into the final next week. Clever looping play with Augsburger on the end of it. Now out, almost to the 5-meter channel, trying to use the width. Still massive hits coming in from both teams so late in the game. It's been a physical encounter, as you would expect from a semi-final. Peterson out wide. Holder shrugs off one. He gets through. Medius on the inside. Still going. Here come the Legion now. Crowder on their feet. Augsburger to Peterson. Sylvia over the 40. The RUNY line gets set. Duplessis, heavily marked man. Ball spits loose, but it's a penalty.
Yeah, but you're off your feet.
Well, I said that giving that ball away in that line out would cost them, and Will Holder, the serving member of the Army, is able to come here. He's posted into Oklahoma, but has been joining RUNY when he can. That's the real challenge that they have. And here, as they move it wide, a little bit messy, but once the tackle has happened, you have to release the ball and you have to release the tackle play. And the referee said the tackler did not release before he played the ball. And a huge moment here and a huge line out that the Legion have to get right with 3 minutes to go. Interesting to see what they do. They've got a full line out. Normally from a full line out, they drive it. They're really going to test the RUNY drive defense.
And this is exactly the final stages you would expect to see from a semi-final. The Legion, with ball in hand, driving forward. They have 5 points to make up to share the lead. But they need a win if they want a home final. Ball comes out. Peterson across to Holder. Holder's made another break. Boyer just a little bit flat. Has to stop his tracks to pull it in, but it's play on. What a finish here at Torero. Deafening sounds from the crowd. Numbers to the right. Can Augsburger get his hands on it? Peterson. It comes wide. Manahera gets it along the ground. It's play on. Duplessis scores. Duplessis scores. He's leveled this semi-final 22 points. saw with a kick to come.
That's real guts there by the Legion. They haven't played their best. They've struggled to hold on to the ball, and I have to say that Will Holder off the bench is really doing a lot to cause these line breaks, but you can see Manihara just desperate, throwing it out, and JP Duplessis, who has been everywhere, gets it in the corner, and we have one of the best kickers in the league to be able to make this kick to surely win the game. There'll be a little bit more time for a kickoff, I think, Mark, but not much after that.
Well, I need a moment to catch my breath.
Well, this is the biggest kick of the year for Joe Peterson. He's been so good.
There's a hush over the crowd. Allowing this man the grace to put the kick. That is unbelievable! Unbelievable here at Torero Stadium. Who else but Joe Peterson, a man of his experience, to step up when it matters and put the ball through the post and take the lead.
And the referee just said last play of the game. That means that Harry Bennett has to kick this short. All the Legion have to do is win the ball and kick it out, and they're into the championship back here next week. Too deep, too deep.
Unbelievable. The ball goes high, but it's safely in the hands of Boyer. It'll go over the sideline. That's an error, and that's game. That is the game. 24 points to 22. The Legion have done it at the death. Unbelievable. The fireworks go off. Jubilant scenes. I'm losing my voice. Pete Steinberg, give us a comment or two, please.
Well, I don't know that any of my comments can really live up to this game, but I want to recognize RUNY, who came in, as we said, through the back door, but they earned their semi-final spot with their performance today. They did everything that they could, but the Legion just had a little bit more at the end, a little bit more dynamic play, a little bit more leadership, and of course, the great kicker in Joe Peterson to win that game. Wow, Mark, this is amazing. If the second semi-final is anything like this, the viewers are getting their value for money.
24 points to 22, and let's not forget that it was 22 points to 22, facing a possible extra time scenario. Here's the try, Duplessis.
Absolutely, Mark, and this is where it was the bounce of the ball. It bounced right for the Legion, but then it was really the class of Joe Peterson, the South African Super Rugby player, coming in and finishing that, and that's a kick. He's had a long career, but that's a kick that he will remember for the rest of his life.
Well, heartbreak for Rugby United New York. I'd have to say, rewind about 10 minutes, and for me, they were well in charge of this game. And a reminder, that's one semi-final down, one to go at 9 p.m. Eastern today on CBS Sports Network. The Seattle Seawolves, last year's champions, take on Toronto Arrows at home. The Arrows, the newcomers, can they upset things up there at Starfire Sports? We're going to take a break. Unbelievable scenes here at Torero, but there's still more to come, so don't turn off your screens. We'll be back shortly, just after the break.
Okay, I would give it to Duplessis, but you can give it to... Yeah.
Sorry, she's grabbing JP. Okay. Welcome back to Torero Stadium, and I have just enough voice left to tell you that the San Diego Legion have emerged victorious over New York at the dying stages, 24 points to 22, and Stacey Pates has our man of the match.
You barely have a voice. I barely can catch my breath. This guy, too, is going to feel it tomorrow. When you think about that victory, so many things happen in a short amount of time, but you never had a doubt in your team.
Yeah, look, to be honest, I think we put ourselves under a lot of pressure, gave away a lot of penalties. So I think towards the end it was really important for us to kind of regather ourselves and dig deep. New York put up a great fight. So like I said, in these final games, it can go either way. So I'm just glad it came our way. Yeah.
The #1 seed now going into the finals, and it's going to be right here. The crowd is erupting right now, right here in San Diego. What does that mean for you all as a community?
Well, it's just great to see the support, and it's great to see how rugby is growing in the United States. I think we always say the United States is a sleeping giant in rugby, so I mean, look at the Sevens. So look, just keep coming out and support us. We love you guys, and we're glad that you're behind us. So hopefully next week we can give you the game we hope to give you, you know.
Talk us through that last play.
Yep. I think a bounce of the ball, definitely. We had the discipline to keep the ball in hand, keep going, and we were quite fortunate that it came our way.
JP Duplessis and the San Diego Legion going to the finals right here at home at Torero Stadium. We'll see you in 1 week.
Thank you so much. See you next week. Thank you.
Well, if you like that game, you must watch tonight's game, the second semi-final, to see who takes on the Legion in the final next week. It's the Seattle Seawolves hosting the Toronto Arrows, 9 p.m. Eastern on CBS Sports Network. Once again, our final score is 24 to 22 at Torero in favor of San Diego. For Pete Steinberg, Stacey Pates, and our entire crew, I'm Mark Stabina. This has been a presentation of CBS Sports Network, that 24-hour home of CBS Sports. After the break, we will send you to DTM Racing from Italy.